Hello, my name's Andrea. I'm a student physical therapist, and today I'll be talking to you about assistive devices. Okay, so there are many different types of mobility assistive devices. There's single point canes, quad canes, front wheel walkers, four wheel walkers, wheelchairs, scooters, and crutches. All these devices are mainly functioning to help an individual be able to be more mobile. So that might be walking easier, faster, for longer distances than they would be without it. Depending on what an individual needs, they will need a different device. So, starting down here in the left, we have a four wheel walker or a rollator walker. These types of walkers generally can be used out in the community. They're one of the quickest assistive devices. They have a seat that you can sit on, so that's nice if you need to have breaks, and a basket so you can carry stuff. There's a quad cane next. This is like a single point cane, which a single point cane is just your traditional straight cane. But the quad cane has a wider base with the four pegs. That wider base is going to help you be a little bit more supportive, a little bit more stable. Next, we have the pickup walker. So this is just a walker that instead of having wheels and rolling, you would have to pick up before each step. And then next, we have the front wheel walker. A front wheel walker is going to be able to just be pushed along. Sometimes you'll see tennis balls on these back parts, so that way they slide easier. And the walker still allows you to have some stability as well as mobility. So an important aspect of assistive devices is sizing. You need to make sure that your assistive device is sized appropriately for you. Otherwise, it's not going to be helping you how it's intended to. So to check this, you can have your walker or cane in your hand with your hand on the grip, and you can look at your elbow bend. So your elbow should be slightly bent, whether it's a cane or a walker. You're looking for about a 15-degree angle of that elbow. Another way you can check is by standing next to the walker and just dropping your arm straight to the side. And the hand grip, should be in line with the crease of your wrist. That would be the same with a cane. If you have a quad cane, say, you could leave it standing up. You drop your arm, it should be right at the crease of your wrist. It's important that you have the correct height walker because um, this can impact your posture. So if it's too low, then you might end up hunched over or leaning to one side. If it's too high, you might have elevation of your shoulders up here, which can make them really tense. So it's important that you have the right height. You can normally adjust the height on these. There's little buttons that you just press in, and then you move the leg or the cane up and down. Another important aspect of assistive devices is how to use them and what posture you should have while you're using them. So generally speaking, you can just say stay upright, move the cane with the opposite leg, and stay within the walker frame. So if you look at this picture, the colored part shows that he's too far away from his walker, and this is causing him to be bent over. This isn't a safe way to use a walker, and it's going to end up, it could long term give you some pain from being bent over like this. The proper way to be when using a walker is to be standing up straight, and you want to have that walker pulled back and close to you so you're within the walker frame. That's the safe way to use it, and that's the way it's going to give you the most support as well. When using a cane, same thing. You want to be upright and straight, but it's important that you're not leaning to the side that you're using the cane. That's a common thing that you see with people is they'll just be leaning too hard into that side, causing them a trunk lean while they walk. And you just want to remember trying to stay upright while you use an assistive device. Another aspect about canes that many people get wrong is they think that you put the cane on the side of the leg that's hurt. You They think that you move the cane when you move the same side leg, but that's not the case. When using a cane, you usually use it to support the opposite leg. So in this case, in this picture, the left leg is being helped with the cane. So the left leg and the cane move at the same time. And then the right leg moves independently. So if he stepped forward with his cane, stepped forward with his left leg, then he would then step forward with his right leg past that cane. This is important and it's easy to remember. You just keep your cane on the opposite side of your hurt or weak leg. And if you don't have a hurt or weak leg, if you're just using a cane for balance, then you can use whatever side is more comfortable for you to use. So something that's important to touch on when talking about assistive devices is safety and tripping hazards. So this also applies to individuals who don't use assistive devices. It's important when you're in your home to avoid rugs if possible. So rugs are a big tripping hazard. If you're someone, especially who's prone to falls, or you might have osteoporosis or something like that, and you could be at a risk of fracture from falls, it's really important that you take notice of these rugs and get rid of them if you can. If you really don't want to get rid of your rugs, there are ways that you can get some rug tape that will secure the rugs to the floor so they're less likely to pop up on the edge. You could also buy rugs that have a tapered edge, a tapered heavy edge where it goes down so it's less likely to flip as well. Rugs are a tripping hazard, and that is even when you have an assistive device, that gives you another way that it can trip on a rug, not only your feet, but maybe your cane or maybe your walker. Another thing to keep in mind is to avoid clutter. So in rooms like the ones pictured, it might be hard to use an assistive device because you don't have a clear path. There's so many things to navigate, you might not have enough room to fit your walker through. It also has a lot of obstacles that might end up bumping you and causing you to lose your balance. Also need to keep this in mind with things like cords. If you have cords running around your house, try and keep them tied together and up against a wall so that way you're not at risk for tripping over them. Another thing to keep in mind is pets. So a lot of people have pets, and you just need to be very mindful of the impact that that can have on your assistive device. So a good example of this, of the clutter and the clear paths, are these two pictures. If you look at this picture on the left, clutter doesn't necessarily mean messy. You know, to me, this room still looks nice, but it's just cluttered in the sense that there's not a clear path for someone who's using an assistive device or someone just in general. So something, if you see in the picture to the right, it's better because they got rid of this rug, so it's no longer in the way. They positioned the shoes out of the way. They moved this chair so it's not an immediate pathway, because this is going to be a path that's commonly used going in and out of a doorway. So you don't want big things in the way of the doorway. So that's just something that you might want to keep in mind. Another tip is always keep your assistive device nearby. If you're going to bed, keep your walker right by your bed. So if you need to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or something, your walker's right there for you, so you can be safe to go to the bathroom. If you have this walker set over here against the wall and you wake up, you might be a little bit dizzy or unbalanced when you first wake up in the middle of the night. And now that walker that you've used for support is a few steps away. So always just remember to keep your assistive devices nearby, like very close nearby, where when you're getting up, you can immediately have it. There are other types of assistive devices that I want to talk about, not just mobility assistive devices. These devices are awesome because they can help improve your function. So there might be things that you're doing daily that can be made a lot easier. So just to read off some of these things, you can always ask your physician or your physical therapist about these things, and or an occupational therapist, and they can help you get them if you think that that's something you need. A lot of these options are also available for sale on like Amazon. So if you just search these up, you can find them as well if you think it's something that would benefit you. So we have bath seats or shower chairs. We have bath support rails, sponges on handles, anti-slip mats, handle and toilet, commode, raised toilet seat, incontinence pads, special built-up cutlery, a long shoehorn, button hook, elastic shoelaces, easy shoes, sock aid, hydraulic hospital bed, freestanding lifting pole, bed raiser, adjustable back support in bed, movable bed rail, chair raiser, lifting seat, grab rails in the room, door frame ramp, staircase lift, tub transfer bench. So here's some pictures of some of those items, and I'll just quickly go through and we can talk about what each one is. So up in this left-hand corner, we have a shower chair or a tub seat. So what you can do is place this chair in your shower. It's waterproof, it's slip resistant. You can adjust the height, it has handles. So when you're taking a shower, you can sit in the shower. So this is great for people who might not be able to stand very long, especially in a slippery surface like a shower. It gives you the ability to sit down and take your time to clean yourself in the shower. Another option we have is this tub transfer bench. So this is great for people who need to get into the shower, but they have a hard time stepping over this ledge here. So what you would do is have the bench, and you see how it comes out on the sides. You would sit down on it and then scoot and pick your legs up so they're in the tub. So you got to move your legs while you were seated rather than standing. So it's a lot easier and you're less likely to lose your balance. And then it kind of works as a shower chair as well, because you could just sit in it while you bathe yourself. Another thing that's very helpful with bathroom assistive devices is this sponge on a stick. Not only helpful for your back, because you might not be able to, just reach back. That takes a lot of mobility that a lot of people don't always have. So it'll help you clean your back, but it also helps you get down to your feet and your lower legs, which is also another hard area to reach for some people. Another option is putting in railing. Installing railing into your bathrooms can be super helpful in preventing falls, slipping, anything like that. Next, we have this toilet raiser. So what this is it actually goes over your toilet, and it's making your toilet seat higher. So that way it's not as hard to get up or to go down. Another helpful thing about this is that it has handrails. So these armrests make it easier for you to get up or lower yourself down if that's something that you're struggling with. There's also specialty cutlery, or you could do it with pens, you could do it with toothbrushes, stuff like that. So for individuals who have a hard time gripping small things, building up the handle will make it easier. So they sell pre-built handles, but it looks like in this picture they used a little trick to make it out of the foam hair curler. So that's something you could always think about doing if that's something you struggle with. Other things for getting dressed, we have this buttoner. So if you have a hard time doing little tiny buttons, then this is a great tool for you. It loops through and will button your buttons for you. There's also this long shoehorn. So it works just like a traditional shoehorn, but it's just much longer. So it'll help you be able to put your shoe on if you don't have the mobility to bend over all the way. Or if maybe you have precautions, if you had a hip replacement or something like that and you're not able to bend over, that's something that you can use. A similar option is this sock helper, this sock aid. So for that one, you just put the sock over the end of it. You're holding two strings, put your toes in and pull up, and it'll pull the sock onto your foot. This is like the shoehorn. This is great for people who have mobility issues with reaching down to their feet for getting dressed. There's also over here a clothing hook, so that can be helpful if you don't have a lot of great mobility. You can use that for socks, you can use that for shirts, pants, anything. It just has a hook that you can hook onto your clothes. We also have this little pole lift that you can use. So for people who have bed mobility difficulties, if you have problems coming to sit in your bed, sometimes this is something that you can place right behind your bed and it'll be helpful so you can get up out of bed easier. There's a grabber, so that's helpful for dressing as well as just reaching things that normally you wouldn't be able to reach. So if there's something on the floor that you need to get, very helpful. And lastly, we have this little door wedge. So that helps if you have issues with your walker perhaps, or any of your other assistive devices, a wheelchair, anything going over the threshold. It's also good even if you don't have assistive devices because it's easy to trip on a threshold. So